Happy New Year, Flosstube. I hope you all are doing well. It's been a few months since I've done a Flosstube. For those of you who are new to me, I am Tracy. I go by Tracy Stitches, I think, here on YouTube. Wow Princess on Instagram. And I think my last Flosstube video was in August of 2020, so 4 months ago. I haven't done a lot of stitching, honestly, in the last 4 months. I did have some finishes in December that were necessary, and I'll talk about those here in a bit, but I just kind of lost my groove. I don't know, 2020, it's over, right? So, yeah, spent the last few months not really doing a ton. Yard work, still working from home. Probably will be for quite some time still. I don't see that changing anytime soon. The vaccine hopefully will make some of that change sooner rather than later, but you know, I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes moving forward. But in the meantime, I'm just sticking close to home. I did spend Christmas with my parents, who are my bubble. Me and my mom and dad are each other's bubble, essentially. And so I did spend about 10 days with them over Christmas. And I also spent Thanksgiving week with them, which is good. My brother and his wife are not part of our bubble. So we did drive and meet them halfway, which is about a 2.5 hour drive for both of us, to exchange gifts on Christmas Eve, outdoors and distanced and masked. So we did see them for about an hour and a half or so in the snow on the pass in Washington State. For those of you familiar, we met at Snoqualmie Pass. Luckily, it was a nice, sunny, non-windy day, though plenty of snow to be had. But it was nice to at least be able to see them and exchange gifts for a few minutes. So that was nice. Otherwise, we had a real quiet Christmas. I came back to my house before New Year's and have spent this week at home, just hanging out, relaxing. I put Christmas away. My tree sits on this wall behind me. So I got a wild hair and last night, and put everything away last night until about, I don't know, 2 a.m. whenever you get the motivation, right? So other than that, things are going well. We are in gloomy Washington State winter weather at this point. Gray sky, raining a lot. And the only good thing is that we're on the uphill slide towards more light in the day now that we're past the 21st of December. And I am counting the days to the second weekend in March when we can push our time forward and start heading into more daylight and hopefully more sun. So I think that's probably the hardest thing for me is the sun really makes a huge difference for me. So these dark, gloomy days, when they go on and on, can take its toll on my attitude sometimes. But anyway, so let's get into stitching. I'm going to talk about the finishes that I had in December. I'm going to do a WIP parade of my outstanding WIPs. And then I'm going to talk about 2021 a little bit. I'm not going to set any hard and fast goals for 2021, but I am going to have some planned new starts and things like that. So anyway, so we'll talk about my finishes first. So the first finish I don't have here. I can't show you, but I'll put a picture up here. It was Brew. It was a little pillow by Plum Street samplers that I stitched and finished into a little pillow for Melissa for Christmas, StitchinMommy. I finished it, I just finished it with stuffing just for a pillow, and then I whip stitched pom-poms from Lady Dot Crates on Etsy around the edges. I think it turned out really cute. So I will put a picture up there because she already has it. I did stitch it on the called for fabric, which was 36 count R&R Star Hollow Blend. And then I used a mix of the called for fancy flosses and the called for DMCs. So just depending on what I had in my stash and what I thought was worth buying the fancy floss for. So it's kind of a mixture of the called for threads. The second finish I had, and these are all finishes in December, by the way, because I did not stitch in September, October, and November at all. But I needed to get my button gear in December. So the second finish I had was, I finished in its entirety the weather vane. And the last time you guys saw this, I had everything done but that corner and that corner. And I will put a picture of the finish right up here. And that was a gift for my mother for Christmas. So I finished that one finally. I love the way it turned out. Not a big fan of the fabric. It was 30 count cocoa linen. I'm pretty sure it's weeks. And it's old weeks because I bought these charts several years ago. And I used all the called forward fibers because it came kitted with the fibers. So they were all crescent colors. So anyway, I really like how it turned out, and my mom loved it, so that's good. And then the last finish was a finish for myself. I was really behind on this. I took this with me to my parents for Christmas with the goal of getting it up to date because I had not stitched on it since the last week in August. So I was basically 4 months behind, but I finished Temperature Tree by StitchinMommy on Etsy. And I had all but 5 of the leaves done when I left my parents' house earlier this week. And at about 10:30 New Year's Eve, I pulled it out and I stitched the last 5 leaves on it. So I think I am going to add just a little bit to the bottom. I'm probably going to put the year at the base of the tree, and then probably the city, the town that I live in. So I haven't decided fully what I'm going to do, or if I'm going to do anything. Maybe I'll just write it on the back. We'll see. Either way, I love how this turned out. It's gorgeous. Super happy about it. Going to get that framed and hang it in my house. This was the first full year that I lived in my house. So I thought that was kind of a fun way to kind of commemorate that, and I'm going to hang that up. So really happy about that finish. So with that said and done, I counted my finishes yesterday for 2020. There's this piece of hair that's sticking out. It's driving me crazy. Anyway, and 19. I finished 19 things in 2020. If I had done that counting beforehand, I might have hustled to try to get something else finished to make it 20, but too late, didn't do it, no big deal. So I got 19 finishes, though. That's still pretty good. I did update my Stitch from Stash as well, and the nice thing about not stitching is that I usually don't buy much. If anything, I did buy just a wee bit. I did get a wee bit of haul, but most of it didn't go against my Stitch for Stash because they were gifts or part of a already paid for retreat that I had done. The one thing that I did buy was this, excuse me, this chart by Erica Michaels, Naughty or Nice. Super cute. So I did buy that, and I got it fully kitted from Dreama at Needlecraft Corner in Maryland. And so that's really the only thing that I purchased since the last time we've talked. I did, like I said, oh, that's not completely true. I did have the retreat that I had fully paid for with acorns and threads. The Fall Fling replacement. I know that's not called Fall Fling. I think it's called Pacific Northwest Stitchers Retreat now. But they had shipped the product to everybody. So I got those items. And so we got this piece. And we got this piece from Heartstring Samplery. And this from Heartstring Samplery as well. And oh, by the way, this was Plum Street. This is from Plum Street. So, yeah, Gather with Grateful Hearts. So this was from Plum Street. So it was sponsored by Heartstring Samplery and Plum Street Samplers. So, and along with the that, I also had Acorns throw in this chart from Heartstring Samplery, What a Time to Be Alive. That's really hard to see because of the glare, but also because it's white stitching on that fabric, but hopefully you can see that. Anyway, What a Time to Be Alive. I'm not sure if this is a special run. It was released in July. I like it because it does say What a Time to Be Alive right there. And then at the bottom, she had some words to stitched while the earth stood still, spring 2020, global pandemic, and then initials. So kind of a 2020 memorial type piece, I suppose, if you want to look at it that way. You wouldn't have to stitch the words at the bottom if you didn't want to. But I think I'm going to stitch it like she stitched it in white. That was not kitted. It was just a chart. So, and then the last piece of haul that I got for this year was actually a Christmas gift from my mother. She bought me the 12 charts from Country Cottage Needleworks, the Cottage of the Month series. So all 12 of those. So yeah, anyway, so still got some decent haul, even though I wasn't stitching, but probably much less than I would have gotten otherwise. So anyway, so FFOs are next on the list, but the only FFO that I actually had was the pillow, the brouhaha pillow, which I already showed the picture of that. I didn't have any other FFOs in the last 4 months. So, all right. So I'm going to move on to my WIP parade, which it won't take long. I only have 9, I think, WIPs that I'm going to talk about. So we'll talk about those, and then we'll talk about 2021 plans. So my first outstanding WIP, and these are in order of oldest WIP to newest WIP. So this is still a WIP, Magnolia Fairy by Mirabilia. Nora Corbett, actually. She did the fairies under her name. So I'm stitching this on a count of 32 count silk weaver hand-dyed solo. Not a big fan of the fabric, but I love the color of it. And that's where I'm at with that. The next one, I'm so silly. I should have just sucked it up and finished this year because I'm so close to being done, honestly. But this is Mediterranean Mermaid. Again, this one's by Mirabilia. I didn't show the cover because the stitching's all done. I just need the beading. Hello, look at this. The reason why I stopped the beading is because of those stupid big beads. I hate them. But I think I'm actually done with those as well, and I just need to suck it up and do the rest of the beading. But this is on a piece of 32 count shimmering pool. It's Jobelin. It's by Fabrics by Stephanie. I love the way this looks. And I just need to, like I said, suck it up and do the beading. I really don't mind beading so much. I just did not like those big beads because of the way they lay or don't lay. And so I was struggling with that. So the Magnolia Pixie dates back to 2012. Med Mermaid dates back to 2014. And then everything else is 2019 and newer. My next one is Treasure Hunt Bookshelf. It's a Hade. Artwork by Amy Stewart. And I have not touched this since the last time you guys have seen it. So I haven't touched this since July of 2019. But I'm about 3.5 pages in, and I still love the way it looks. So my goal this year, well, I'll talk about my goals in a bit. Okay, more chocolate bunnies. I cannot believe that I still have this as a WIP. I'm doing this on 32 count aspen linen. And I'm doing it with the silky called for threads. And that's where I'm at. Pretty Little London by Satsuma. Oh, I'm doing more chocolate bun. Oh yeah, I already said. I'm doing Pretty Little London on 32 count antique white Lugana. And I'm actually not doing too bad. I have almost that whole side done. So I just need to get on with it. This was a barely start before Christmas of last year, 2019. I started one of these ornaments. This one right here, Be Merry. This is by Hands On Designs, chalkboard ornaments. And I just am barely started. So need to get on with those. This is a sal that I started with Melissa, StitchinMommy, and I've got 2 of the 3 pieces done. She's already done with this. I am not. I've got 2 of the 3 pieces already completed. This is Pumpkin Farm by Shannon Christine. It's being stitched on 32 count applesauce color and cotton. And I just have this 3rd chart over here, which is called Pumpkin Patch. I don't have the cover chart, so I'll put a picture right up here to show you what it'll look like. I really don't think this is going to be that big of a, that hard of a chart. They're pretty small. They remind me of the smaller Little House charts that are like 50 by 50. So, I mean, I could knock it out in a couple days if I just sat down and did it. So, knee high. Hands On Designs again. I'm stitching this on 28 count Picture This Plus Ale Lugana. I had been a little bit further along than this, but I had a stitching error, a counting error in the green, and I had kept going because I thought I could just work around it, and then I realized that I could not work around it. So I had to pull some of it out. And then the last WIP I have is kind of a bummer for me because I had been keeping up really good with this in 2020 through August, and I was hoping to finish this year with it as a or 2020 as a finish, because quite frankly, I wanted to not have to worry about it this year. But as it is, I am not done with the 2020 Linen and Threads Mystery Sampler. That highlighted part is the December chart, but essentially I haven't done any of this part, this third of it. December, November, October, and September. I'm 4 months behind on it, but I am through August. I'm stitching on 36 count Winter Moon, and the fiber is Mint Chocolate Syrup by, oh dear, I can picture it in my mind, but I cannot say it. It's overdyed. Hold on. By Threadworks. Or right side up. So those are my WIPs which are pretty good. I had more WIPs than that at the beginning of the year, so I definitely did make a dent in my WIPs, which is nice. There's one WIP that I ended up putting away for now. So it's not in my WIP list. I kind of UFO'd it for now. It's the Lizzie Kate Boo Club Flip It's. It's the one that I was going to do. I'm working on, or want to do it on the orange banding, and I will stitch that at some point. But not now. I'm not kind of in that mode for some reason. I don't know if it's the banding. I don't know if it's Lizzie Kate, because I did quite a bit of Lizzie Kate this year. I don't know. So for now, I'm just going to put it away. I'll pick it up at some other point. I barely had started one side of the border, maybe a couple inches of the border. So I don't really consider it a full start. It's just kind of me picking at it, really trying to make sure I have the outside borders, because I'm doing it on a set piece of banding. I have to make sure that it's centered properly. So it was really just the start of trying to make sure that I had my counting done correctly. So I've put that away, and I've kind of counting this as a UFO for now, and moving on without it in my WIP list, so as to not overwhelm me. So we'll see. So moving forward into 2021, I have 3 immediate goals. So my first goal is to finish this pretty quickly. I would like to finish this in the next month and just be done with it. I love it. I love the way it's turned out. And I'm sad I got behind on it. So I want to get that done with and get that off my list. In my non-stitching time, there are 2 Lizzie Kate Flip It months that I didn't get done. I did not get November and December done. So I need to finish these. And obviously I have quite a bit of time. I have 10 months before the next one isn't needed, but I would rather get them done sooner rather than later. These are super easy. They take me 2 nights to do. So really we're talking about a week, less than a week, and having both of them done. So I don't know that I'm going to do these before I get my lens and threads one done, but I am going to make this a priority for the beginning of this year. And then the next priority is going to be to bead this damn mermaid. So I am done with the stitching, so happy with the way it looks, but I just got to suck it up and do the beading. And there's a place for her in my house. My bathroom, my master bathroom, is mermaidy already in those colors. So there's a wall that's going to go on. So those are my 3 main priorities for 2021, at least the beginning of this year. And then honestly, the rest of my goal is to clean up these WIPs. If I can get all of the existing WIPs done in 2021, except for the Treasure Hunt bookshelf by Hade, obviously, then I'll feel pretty good about that progress. And then I do have some planned starts. I mean, let's not get crazy. And there is going to be some new stuff. One of the first ones I want to do, and I might start this in January here still, is a freebie by Hemlock Rye. I'm just going to kind of come back here with it. It is freebie. If you go to Hemlock Rye's website, you can grab it from her. This is on Etsy, or on Instagram. She's Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World, but it's called 9. It's a tribute to RGB. And so I'm going to stitch this on a piece of black linen, or even weave probably. And probably with some Kreinik, mostly because I kind of want the shine. So yeah, gonna work on that. One Nation. I wanted last year, when I saw Janet Jabber doing this, I wanted to follow along. For those of you who didn't follow, she was doing One Nation Sal, that she was doing 1 star and 1 state a week, which would then of course finish you out by the end of the year. Super smart, right? And I just had too much stitching that I was doing, and I didn't follow along. So I am going to do this, I believe on the called for fabric, but I'm doing it with DMC. I'm not buying the fancy floss for this. I did buy for the red, the variegated red that DMC has, but otherwise just regular blue and white. Didn't go fancy with it. I'm not going to start this week, I don't think. So I'm going to get myself a little bit behind to begin with. But by the end of January, I'd like to have it caught up to 4 states, 4 stars. And by the end of the year, have this done. And then I want to start and hopefully finish this one. Snow Village by Country Cottage Needleworks. This came out last year, and I've got all of them. And I was gonna stitch it on the called for fabric, which is 32 count French Country Rain, right? Country French Rain. I'm sure that's the called for fabric because I bought it. I have it right here because I'm gonna do something else with it. But then I saw Kimberly at Fat Quarter shop stitched hers on this fabric. And this fabric is a horrible, horrible fabric. It's a gray and white petite point fabric. It's Ada. I got 20 count. And it's been a long, long time since I stitched on Ada. And it's very stiff. It's very stiff. So I'm hoping that I don't regret my choice, but I loved the way that it looked when she posted her finish. So I'm gonna do it, and I got it on 20 count. So I'm hoping that I can muddle my way through it. And then the last piece that I do want to start this year was a Sal from 2020. It was through Peppermint Purple, A Year of Black Work. So every week she released a new chart. There's 52 little teeny tiny charts here. And she released it on her Facebook page. And I didn't follow along because I was doing other things. But I am going to use that piece of Country French Rain linen fabric. I got it in 32. And I saw somebody using this combination of fabric and thread for the linens and threads Sal, and I fell in love with it. So it's French Country Rain or Country French Rain fabric, and it's Silks for You PR076 fibers. So I'm going to do the Year of Black Work monochromatic in this, as opposed to the different colors that she has charted it with. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. So that's my plans for 2021. I'm not going to do any challenges in 2021. I pulled out of Magical Stitches. I'm not going to do Magical Stitches this year. I just decided I don't want to put any of that type of pressure. I don't mind counting stitches, but it gets old, especially if you're trying to find something to stitch that matches some sort of a goal and coming up with a story to explain it. I don't have time for that. It's frustrating. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. And I just want to stitch because I want to stitch. So, and be done with it. So I have some bigger pieces that I plan on starting next year or this year. It's already 2021, crazy. And I'd like to finish a lot of it. So we'll see. I also have, I know there's some other pieces out there that I have that I want to start. I just haven't kind of gathered all of them up. I have, according to my handy little spreadsheet here, I have only 55 kitted projects. So I really need to not be buying a bunch this year, and I really don't need to be getting more projects. So while I'm not putting myself on a spending limit by any means, I'm going to buy what I want to buy because let's be honest, I'm going to do it anyway. But I'm not going to do a Stitch for Stash, which, by the way, my Stitch for Stash did end up not being horrible. Ended up less than $100 in the hole. It was $92.41 was my ending Stitch for Stash number, negative. Which honestly, over the course of a year, wasn't horrible, I didn't think. So, you know, kind of broke even, or came close to breaking even anyway, considering at one point I was minus $325. Yeah, I had to come back. So, but I'm not going to worry about that this year. My spending in general has been cut back just because of pandemic and not buying as much, not spending as much. So that's not a bad thing either. But other than that, I think that's about it. So I've missed participating in the Flosstubes, and so hopefully I will go back to my every other week, every third week type schedule on these. It'll probably depend on progress I'm making on some of my pieces, but that's kind of my goal, every other week, at least once a month for sure, and hopefully have some good stuff to show. So anyway, I hope that you guys all had a very happy new year. I hope your holidays went well. Starting to get back in the grind on Monday, new year, work, that kind of thing, school probably. So I hope everyone is doing well, staying safe, staying healthy, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.